So there's this yogi who has taken a vow of silence, a vow of stillness, a vow of anchoredness. Let's, with an inhale, lift our chin towards the ceiling or sky. Feel that anterior throat expansion here as you maybe even push that bottom jaw just a little bit further forward. See if you can really feel that full connective tissue between the torso and the cervical kind of region, but also that anterior expansion down into that pec minor region. And then we'll bring our chin down with an exhale to our sternum. And so this yogi every day just sits in this beautiful courtyard, this massive, beautiful courtyard, without speaking, without moving. Bring our head back to neutral. Let's place our right palm down on our right leg. It can be wherever the right leg is. And we're just going to exhale and rotate our neck, head, cervical spine to the left. Try to keep that shoulder girdle nice and neutral. So maybe there's even a subtle or slight retraction to the right scapula. And then we'll relax back to neutral. And we'll do the same thing. So left hand's going to plant. That is just to provide a little stability and anchor. And then we exhale over towards the right. And then we'll relax back to neutral. And let's extend our legs straight out in front of us, little staff position. As you get into staff here, think about what we can do to create more ease in the shape. It can be a shape that's going to be really challenging to get into if we have some posterior stiffness, right? So remember that you can bend the knees, try to get that spine into a place where it's vertical, and then let's exhale into kind of a little baby forward fold. So don't think about releasing all the way in here. Just give yourself a little tilt forward. And then we'll inhale ourselves back up towards a vertical spine and just reach the arms up and overhead. Try to get that verticality. And then we'll exhale the arms back down and we're just going to tilt further into a little forward fold. Goal here is really just to create a fold that your body is receptive to. Think about how that tilt forward is being received by your body. And remember all of the mechanisms you have to adjust the torso tilt, the knee bend, the duration or the depth of the fold. And then let's inhale ourselves back up to a staff position. And we'll once again extend those arms up and overhead. Palms face towards one another. Fingers splayed out wide. Think about how, as you splay the fingers out, all that subscapular musculature starts to peel its way out here. And then we'll bring the hands back down and we'll exhale ourselves into a forward fold. Really just wanting to release and relax into the depths. Think about what those physical adjustments you can make are to make the biggest impact in your fold. And then think about those those internal adjustments, those adjustments to our nervous system, how we can down regulate any stress response or release any held tension through exhales. And then we'll walk ourselves back up towards staff. And in staff, let's extend those arms up and overhead. Fingers splay out wide. And then relax the hands down. This time the hands are going to come down behind us. And the four fingers are going to point towards the space behind you. If that doesn't feel accessible to you, you can go out towards a little bit of a 45-degree angle. But working towards the fingers facing behind us. And then squeeze the scapula back, lift the chin. And as the chin lifts, think about how the sternum can kind of get out in front of the scapula. We can kind of be caved in, concaved in this retracted position and still get that squeeze. But think about bringing the sternum forward. And then bring the head back to neutral, shoulders back to neutral, torso back to vertical. And we'll transition to hands and knees, tabletop. In your tabletop alignment, fingers splay out wide. Find that neutrality in your spine. And exhale, and we'll arch the middle of the back, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the tailbone, lift the chin. Come back to neutral. Find that feeling where your spine locks in at neutral and sink back into child's pose. And land in your child's pose. And so this yogi, just every day, comes in, he sits down in the courtyard in perfect stillness, in perfect silence, does not move throughout the day. And people start to notice, not the first day, not the second day, but a week, 2 weeks in, people are seeing this being sitting in perfect stillness and perfect silence all day, every day. And people start to take notice of that. People start to talk about that. More people start to come witness this experience of this being sitting in stillness and silence. When it feels appropriate, fingertips grip into the mat. We'll inhale and pull ourselves forward to hands and knees, tabletop. Reconnect to that neutral spine. Exhale out, tuck the chin, round the back, tuck the tailbone. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chin, lift the tailbone. Exhale, round, tuck, tuck. Inhale, drop, lift, lift. And let's move a few more times with our breath here. Exhales into the big round. Inhales into the big belly drop. One more time in each direction. And then we'll meet in tabletop again. Flat, neutral spine. Think about really locking that in. Curl your toes, lift your seat, find your way into down dog. Feel your down dog here. Feel the engagement in the fingerprints and the finger mounds. Feel the lift into the hips. Remember that if the hamstrings are locked up, we're losing the capacity of the shape. So you can bend the knees to help the hips get higher, right? We want to shift that torso back. We don't want to round. We don't want the weight forward. We want the weight in the legs. This shape really should feel like a place where we can hang out, where we can breathe, where we can hang for 10, 20 minutes without much of a challenge because the legs are doing all the work. And then we'll come down to hands and knees tabletop, flip the tops of the feet, and sink back into child's pose. As you get into this child's pose, note how the quads are responding. Note the additional blood flow into the quad musculature. And that might change the physicality of child's pose. It might be harder to get into the full depth of the shape. And that's totally okay. Let the sacrum kind of guide you into the depth potential here. Feel your body shift all the way back to the full depth of the shape. And then let's pull ourselves forward once again. We'll reestablish tabletop. From tabletop, we're going to exhale out, round the back, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. Inhale to neutral. Exhale, curl your toes, roll back into down dog. Inhale to neutral. Exhale, sink your way back into child's pose. Inhale to neutral. Exhale into down dog. Inhale to neutral. Exhale to child's pose. Inhale to neutral. Exhale to down dog. Inhale to neutral. Exhale to child's pose. And let's move through these three shapes, really, right? That neutral tabletop, that exhale into the release of down dog, or that exhale into the release of child's pose. Drawing the inhale breath back to that real conscious awareness of vertical arm stack, of vertical femur stack, and a neutral spinal column before you roll into either version of expansion, either expansion into down dog or expansion into child's pose. Really get the depth of all three shapes. Find your checkpoints. Think about how you feel each cycle through. Ask yourself if you could find just a little more space each cycle through. And let's give ourselves 2 more full cycles. And we'll meet in child's pose. So when you get to that second cycle through child's pose, pause there, land there, breathe there, feel the expansiveness there. And let's inhale, we'll pull ourselves forward to hands and knees tabletop. Curl our toes, lift our seat, and find down dog. And we'll walk our way forward to the front of the mat, finding a fold. Inhale into half lift. Exhale back into fold. Splay your toes out wide. Drift your awareness to your sacrum. Let's roll ourselves up vertebrae by vertebrae. Really slowly unfolding here into mountain. And then bringing the hands together, heart center. Just feel your body balance here. And we'll slide our left foot straight back into lunge. Sweep the arms up in a crescent. Make sure you've taken that bend out of the back leg. Think about the vertical, the neutral anterior, posterior of the torso, and then smooth your way into that front quad. As you get that weight forward, don't let the back knee bend. We stay strong in that quad. And then we'll drop the hands to heart center and step to mountain. Feeling the foundation of mountain here. And then we'll slide the right foot straight back. Same thing on the right side. We sweep the arms to crescent. We get that anterior posterior neutrality. We get that lift, that strength. We smooth our way into the front shape. We smooth our way towards the front of the shape, but we don't arch, we don't bow, we don't bend the back knee. We stay strong, rooted in those checkpoints. Drop the hands and we'll step to the front of the mat. Sweep the arms up and overhead. And exhale all the way into fold. Let the spine release into this fold. Inhale into half lift. Create that flat, neutral spinal alignment. Exhale back into fold. Plant your hands. We'll walk our way back into down dog. Let's shift our weight forward to plank. And we'll lower ourselves straight down to our belly. Let the elbows come forward so that the elbows can sit right underneath the shoulder capsule. And let the palms face down. Splay the hands out nice and wide. And think about how this extension energy in the spine is impacting your lumbar. For a lot of us, lumbar is pretty compacted. And so when we lift the sternum here, we start getting compression in that low back. If you're feeling compression, we lower the head down. The forehead gets closer to the mat until that compression goes away. If you're not feeling compression, and it's really important if we're not feeling compression, right? So that is a question we ask ourselves first. If we're not feeling compression, we can lift the chin. We can peel back that shoulder capsule space. But all of this is contingent upon not feeling lumbar compression. If we're feeling lumbar compression, we lower our head, even if that means bringing the forehead all the way down to the mat until that lumbar compression is alleviated. And so as more and more people talk about this yogi, more and more people come to witness this yogi. And as more and more people come, more and more people talk. And pretty soon there's like 20 or 30 people gathered around this yogi. They come and they just kind of sit in this yogi's silence. And they all have different kind of hopes, but a lot of them hope that someday this yogi will speak and she will share her wisdom. Think about that 90-degree-ish bend at the elbows. We'll give ourselves just 30 more seconds here. And then when it feels appropriate, release yourself down. Stack your hands. Let the forehead rest upon those stacked hands. And as you get into that hand stack, pay attention to how the shoulders feel. Make sure you're not creating any tension in the shoulder capsule. And then just ease. Think about ease. Give ourselves just 30 more seconds here. And when it feels appropriate, sliding your hands out from underneath your head and underneath the shoulders. Press yourself up to hands and knees, tabletop. And from tabletop, let's curl our toes, lift our seat, and find our way into down dog. Think again about getting the weight back into the hips, creating that depth of shape. And then we'll walk our way forward into fold. And here we'll inhale into half lift. And exhale back into fold. Drift your awareness to your sacrum. We'll roll ourselves up vertebrae by vertebrae. Coming into this mountainous alignment and bring your hands together, heart center. And we'll slide our left foot straight back into lunge. As you land that left foot, think about the strength in the left leg, and then we're gonna ground the left heel. We roll open and we make sure that that right thigh is not collapsing and following us in. That stays with our width here. Now we're gonna blossom the arms out into warrior two. Think about the fingers pointing in opposite directions, that shoulder girdle staying neutral, and our gaze right down the middle of the right arm. At the same time, we're maintaining the middle of the femur, the distal head and the proximal head, perfectly aligned, middle of that hip space, and we're just driving that out to create a vertical tibia fibia. Left heel spins up and we're gonna find crescent. And then we'll drop the hands and step back into mountain. Ooh. Low, fluid breath. Reestablish the foundation of mountain. Same thing to the second side. Right foot slides straight back. As we land there, we keep that right quad active. We think about the strength of that right leg. Then we ground the right heel. We roll open in the hips, but we don't allow that left quad to collapse in. So we stay perfectly aligned, middle of the kneecap, middle toe, and we blossom the arms out into warrior two. Shoulder girdle neutral, torso neutral, vertical tibia, fibia, shifting the weight and strength into that front leg. Right heel spins up. We're back into crescent. Drop the hands and we'll return to mountain. Drop the hands behind you and interlace the fingers here. If the finger interlace doesn't feel accessible, just grab the belt line or you can grab the side of your pants. And we're gonna push down. So we're on the side of the pants, we're just straightening those arms. If we're on the belt line, we're just straightening those arms. If we're interlaced, we're straightening those arms. And we're thinking about this nice vertical alignment. Whole body vertically aligned. Lift the chin. Keep the shoulder girdle wide as you do so. Drop the chin back to neutral and we'll sweep the arms up and overhead. And then exhale through forward fold. Inhale into half lift. Exhale back and fold. Plant your hands. We'll walk our way back into down dog. Remember to get your weight back into your hips. Get your spine neutral. Get the spine long. And then we'll come down to hands and knees tabletop, flip the tops of the feet and sink back into child's pose. Landing in your child's pose in a way that allows you to just be at ease. Really think about ease and space here. What can you do to bring more ease into your body? What can you do to bring more space into your body? How you prioritize those things really dependent on what you most want from your practice. We'll give ourselves 30 more seconds here. When it feels appropriate, let's pull ourselves forward to hands and knees tabletop, and we'll extend our legs back out into staff. So we re-experience this position, right? Compare and contrast to the first time we were here. Think about how your body feels, if there are differences, if there are further restrictions, if there's further space. And then inhale and take the arms up and overhead. Splay the fingers out wide. And then exhale straight out to a little forward fold. Another compare and contrast opportunity. Really wanting to find our way into as much depth as is possible. And so as more people start to sit around this yogi, more people start to notice. As more people start to notice, more people start to talk. As more people start to talk, more people start to sit around this yogi. And so it becomes this chain reaction. Pretty soon, that number of people sitting around her grows from 20 to 30 to 40 or 50, 50 to 60, 70 to 80. And then one day it's just undeniable. There are over 100 people sitting around this yogi who has not said a word, is not moving. We'll give ourselves 30 more seconds here. And we'll eventually bring ourselves back up into a staff position. Sweep the arms up and overhead, lay the fingers out wide, create that width. And then we'll relax our hands down and lower ourselves onto our back. Let your body just be received here. Let your body be held here. Let your body be supported by the mat here. Feel how your spine is responding to the work we've done already, to the support underneath it. And listen to what your body might still want or need. We'll give ourselves just 20 seconds just to tune in and listen to what the body's asking for. Where are those areas we could send our breath? And then we'll inhale. And we'll bring the knees into a bent position if they're not already there. Then bring the thighs in towards the torso and give yourself a nice little squeeze. Hands can be on the hamstrings here. They can be on the shins here. They can be on the ankles here. But somewhere where you can kind of give yourself a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of arm pressure. I don't want to use the word pressure. A little bit of arm encouragement is a better way to describe that. And then let's release the feet back down to the ground. Kneecaps point towards the ceiling. We're going to inhale and lift our belt line up into a bridge. Now we're not going past neutral here. We're just going in neutral. We're trying to create a neutral anterior posterior angle. And then release that back down. And we'll pull the thighs in towards the torso. Exhale. Feet come down. Belt line lifts. Inhale, tailbone down, thighs retract. Exhale, feet land, belt line lifts. Inhale, tailbone lands, thighs retract. Let's just move a couple more times with our own breath cycle. Maybe one more full cycle through. And eventually we'll let the feet come back down to the mat. and start a little dynamic sway with the knees. Arms here can be a cactus, they can be a T, they can be by your side. We're just letting the knees kind of windshield wiper. Actually, windshield wiper isn't exactly what we're doing. Rotate here. We'll get to a windshield wiper. Maybe one more time in each direction. And then we'll take our knees back to neutral and walk the feet out to the width of the mat. So here's where we're going to be a little bit more windshield wipery. We're going to start that dynamic sway again. Exhale to the left. You'll notice the right knee kind of goes forward and the left knee kind of comes up, right? That's because of the space we have, how the hips work. Inhale to neutral, and then it'll be the opposite as we go the other way. And we're going to work back and forth with our breath here. Exhales into the rotation, inhales to neutral. Make sure you hit your neutral checkpoint and then exhale to the second side. Let's complete one more cycle to each side. And then we'll meet with the knees back at neutral. Bringing the heels back in line with the hips. Extend your legs for a moment so that your body can once again be held, be supported by the mat. And then we'll inhale our knees back to neutral, kneecaps point towards the ceiling. Keep that 2/5 distance between the feet and the kneecaps. And then exhale your knees over to the left. And here we're gonna settle. We're gonna find a little static place to just breathe into this twist. And so this yogi, she has over 100 people gathered around her one day. And this rumor starts to spread through the crowd. This rumor is that when the courtyard is full, she's going to speak. She's going to share her wisdom, her teachings. And this kind of sends up a palpable excitement through the crowd. And it starts to send kind of tendrils of excitement out into the community. More people hear about this and more people come. The next day, there's probably 200 people in this courtyard. And every time that more people come, it becomes a bigger visual. And as it becomes a bigger visual, more and more people get interested. As more and more people get interested, more and more people start to participate. Over the course of the next year, the courtyard starts to get more and more people in it. And there are days when people start to think the courtyard's full. But then someone always comes in and there's always room for them, and there's just no argument that it's full. And still there's this buzz and there's this excitement and there's this desire to hear what this yogi's going to say when she finally does break her silence. Give ourselves 60 more seconds here on this first side. We'll inhale and bring our knees back to neutral. And then exhale and let the knees fall over to the second side. Just landing here in a way where your body feels received. And then one day, the courtyard is just packed. Wall to wall packed. And someone tries to come in, and there's no way for them to get into the courtyard. And there's a line of people waiting at the courtyard entrance, and there's no way for them to get in. And it's undeniable the courtyard is full. And there's like an electric hush that silences this crowd. And all of their focus, all of their attention is on this yogi who's sitting cross-legged, eyes closed, in perfect stillness. and they're waiting for her to speak. And they're waiting throughout the morning, into the afternoon, and the sun starts to go down. And there's like a little tiny rumor, this like silent, almost unnoticeable rumor that spreads through the crowd that she's going to speak when the sun sets. But then the sun sets and she doesn't speak. And some people get up and leave. And then a few more. A lot of people stay throughout the night, but when the sun rises in the morning, a lot more people leave. But this yogi is just sitting there in perfect silence. And she doesn't speak. And then weeks go by and she doesn't speak. And then years go by and she doesn't speak. And she's starting to get quite old. And there are only a few people that come to sit with her now. From thousands, there's maybe a dozen or so, kind of cycle in and out throughout the week, just waiting for the day when she's going to break that silence. When it feels appropriate for you, we'll bring our knees back to neutral. And as the knees come back to neutral, realign yourself. Ask yourself if there's anything that your body wants, if there's anything that your body's missing, if there's anything that your body could benefit from prior to Shavasana. And if there is, let's offer that to our body now. If we have everything we need, then let's drift into a position where we can appreciate some stillness. And if as more time goes by, fewer and fewer people show up. Down from a dozen, down from dozens to maybe 2 or 3. Just hitting your version of stillness. So this yogi, she gets more and more fragile as time passes. Once she shows up, she sits in silence. And one day, no one at all shows up to sit with her. And her energy is dwindling. Her time is dwindling. She sits all day. At the end of the day, she softly opens her eyes. She sees this beautiful empty courtyard. We'll start to bring some movement to our fingers and our toes. Movement into your wrists and your ankles. Movement into your elbows and your knees. Shoulders, hips, neck, head, jaw, eyes, tongue. Eventually, the whole body moves, and we'll utilize that movement to transition into a seat. In the seated space, spine gets tall, breath gets fluid, eyes closed. So she's looking out over this empty courtyard. For the first time in decades, she speaks. She says, the answers you're seeking are within you. If you just stop looking for them in others. And no one hears it because they're out looking elsewhere. So your next inhale, we'll bring our hands together, heart center. Over the course of the next 7 days, can you remind yourself that the truth rarely shouts because it has the luxury of waiting? See how that impacts your experience. Thank you so much for being a part of this evening's practice and for being you. Namaste. Happy Monday. Appreciate the heck out of you being here. Have a beautiful week. I'll be back on Sunday to recharge, and we'll do this again next Monday. Love you. Mwah.